Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Let's just take a moment now. Turn to somebody next to you, someone you know, someone you don't know. Wish them a Shabbat Shalom. If you're at home, turn to someone on the couch. Shabbat Shalom. Okay. Sure, a lot of us already said Shabbat Shalom when we got here. It is such a gift to be here with all of you. I am Rabbi Michael Weiss. I'm being joined on the bima tonight by Cantor Deborah Cannizzaro, Robert Jarash, who's our accompanist, who makes such beautiful music with us, and Jan Knapik makes sure that all of our technology works, all of the things required for the synagogue of the 21st century. Rabbi Simon is enjoying Shabbat from home with his family. We know that he's going to be participating along in the service too. And for those of you joining us from home, the small sanctuary that is whatever room you're in, we always say here that when you participate in our service, your home becomes an extension of our sanctuary. We feel your presence here. We feel your Shabbat spirit. We are so grateful that you are spending your Shabbat with us. As we go through our service, we'll ask everyone to turn off your devices now, turn them off, or silence them if you just can't bear to, because we're all addicted to our phones nowadays. If you're here in the sanctuary, there is actually a fine replacement for a prayer book right in front of you in the seat. That is our Mishkan Tefillah prayer book. Everything that you'll need for our service, all the liturgy, will be on the screen. If it's in the prayer book, it'll have a page number, and this prayer book has a lot of really wonderful things in it. You can feel free to sort of let your mind wander, get a little bit lost. We know that you're not going to go too far that you can't find your way back. If you're going to get lost, why not do it with something meaningful? We have moments during the service where we are going to ask the congregation to rise. If that is physically uncomfortable, please, please, please remain seated. We know that you will be standing with us in your heart. And this is a special Shabbat. And all Shabbats are pretty special, but this is the Shabbat where we read the story of Noah. Noach, the word actually means rest and comfort. And even as the story of Noah perhaps leaves us a little uncomfortable and a little concerned, we know that Noach is what we hope to find on this Shabbat, that rest, that comfort, that gift that Shabbat brings to the world and that the Jewish people brought to the world with Shabbat. We are always celebrating many gifts here at Schaarai Zedek, and one of our greatest is when we get to celebrate with one of our young people as they become bar or bat mitzvah, taking their place in the Jewish community. We are delighted to celebrate with Zach Shapiro, as we'll be celebrating him becoming bar mitzvah tomorrow morning. And so, with the light that he's bringing to our community, we're going to ask him and his parents, Daniel and Gisele, to come up and bless our Shabbat lights. Tomorrow afternoon. We're celebrating with them tomorrow afternoon.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their heart. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Amen.
Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who, finding favor with us, sanctified us with mitzvot. In love and favor, you make the holy Shabbat our heritage as a reminder of the work of creation. As first among our sacred days, it recalls the exodus from Egypt. You choose us and set us apart from the peoples. In love and favors, you have given us your holy Shabbat as an inheritance. Praise to you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen.
Amen.
Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of the fruit of the vine.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit, ki hu yom tehila lemikra'e kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim, ki vanu v'chata v'yotanu kidashta mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon inchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-shabbat. Amen. L'chaim.
Well, Zach, we are so excited to be led in prayer by you tomorrow afternoon. We know you'll be up here just a little bit later to lead us here. Thank you so much. Mazel tov, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Our opening song is going to be Hine Ma Tov. How wonderful it is when brothers and sisters and all of us can be together to be on this joyous day. Hine Ma Tov Umanai Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Ma Tov Umanai Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. How good it is.
How good it is.
How sweet it is.
How sweet it is
to be together
with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics and no services, but I need them together. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach upward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us and to bring that vision to life. We rise together in our places or in our hearts for our Baruch Hu, the call to worship.
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? La 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 la, ya 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 la 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 la. Baruch Adonai, HaMevorach, Le'olam Va'ed, Le'olam Va'ed. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. La 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 la, ya 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 la 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 la.
We'll read together. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on the evening.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod, Shem Kevod, Malchuto Le'olam, Le'olam Va'ed. And you may be seated. We now join together in Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavecha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom alevavecha ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
We read responsively. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth.
The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces.
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא, נורא, נורא תהילות, אוסף אלה. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא, נורא, נורא תהילות, אוסף אלה. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לבני משה ומרים, סלי, סלי, ענו ואמרו, מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לבני משה ומרים, סלי, סלי, ענו ואמרו. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא, נורא, נורא תהילות, אוסף אלה. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא, נורא, נורא תהילות, אוסף אלה, אוסף אלה. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
Amen. We read together. Give us a place to rest, O God. Shelter us in the long, soft evening shadows of your truth. You are true protection and safety. In your presence we find love and acceptance. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Blessed are you, Adonai, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem.
V'shameru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, ביני ובין בני ישראל, עודי לעולם, עודי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
We now rise together for the Amidah, and we will invite our bar mitzvah tomorrow, Zach Shapiro, to lead us in the first prayer of it.
Adonai, Sefatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagi Tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avoteinu ve'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, ve'Konei Hakol, ve'Zocher Chasdei Avot ve'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'nehem Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagen. Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah.
אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים וחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה. ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
We are seated. Zag Yasher
Beautiful job.
Koach. We say, which means may your strength be firm. That's what we say when someone does a wonderful job leading us in prayer with skill and resolve. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Ki atahu melech adon lecho Shalom, ki atahu melech adon, lecho shalom. Shalom rav al Yisrael amcha, tasim le'olam. Shalom rav al Yisrael amcha, tasim le'olam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim le'olam. Tasim le'olam. Tasim le'olam.
On this Shabbat, our day of rest and comfort, we turn our thoughts to those in our lives who lie restless on beds of pain, those who ail in mind, body, and spirit. We think of those suffering from COVID-19 and its after effects. We think of those whose worlds are darkened with despair of the heart. We think of all of those medical professionals who work themselves to the bone, give everything they have to take care of our loved ones. If there is someone you're thinking of at this time, someone in need of healing, I invite you at this time to hold them tightly in your heart and set the intention to do something for them after the service to show them that you love them. For we cannot know the impact that knowing that we are loved and cared for can have. We'll take all of that love, all of that intention, and put it into our communal prayer for healing. Misha Berach.
Misha Berach Avotenu blessing, and let us say, Amen. Nishaberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We now take a silent moment to give space to the prayer in our own hearts. So this should come as no surprise to anyone, but when I was growing up, I learned a lot of prayer book Hebrew. So I'll bring this up at many opportunities. See, there's some laughs out there, because if you've heard me tell stories like this before, you know my dad's a rabbi, my mom's a Jewish educator, so it just kind of makes sense, right? Not just hearing about it at home, but going to religious school, being at almost every service. And from those experiences, I certainly learned how to say most of the words in the prayer book, even if I didn't know exactly what they meant. But no amount of American synagogue Hebrew education could have prepared me for the year that I lived in Jerusalem when I started rabbinical school. Not only did the sacred language of our prayer book take on all kinds of new, mundane, and occasionally profane meanings, if you know Israelis, but I also came across modern Hebrew words which I had never even heard of before. So I want to give you one big example. Around Israelis, there's a word that you're going to hear a lot, and that word is davka. Anyone ever heard that before? Just give me a hand. Davka. Okay, so this is new. New things are good. So davka is a word that appeared in the Talmud, and what it means is to pulverize something to dust. But it came to mean to examine something closely, right? Like breaking it down into its little pieces. So it can mean precisely or specifically. So you can use it to say, like, well, why did you do this and not this, right? Why davka did we have to take that route to the beach? Now, davka has a little bit of an edge, so you would probably ask that if there was a whole bunch of traffic, and after the fact, you're like, why davka that route, right? We should have gone somewhere else. You can also use davka a little bit like this. I thought I was going to hate that movie, but davka, it was pretty good, right? It means that something happened a certain way despite my expectations. And it can even mean to do something out of spite. My parents wanted me to go to art school, so davka, I ended up getting that degree in particle physics. This is a complicated word with all kinds of textures of meaning that don't translate well into English. And sometimes that's just how things are. Translation is an imprecise art, an imperfect solution to the foreignness of languages to each other. How can people truly understand each other when there are ideas that just don't translate? We can start to begin to think about this question using a story from Parshat Noach, our Torah portion this week. After the flood, as civilization rebuilds, we read, Vayehi chol ha'aretz safa echat udvarim acherim. Everyone on earth had one language and the same set of words. That is, there was a unified speech. Everyone could understand each other and make sense of what was being said. Now, with this global understanding, all the peoples of the earth came together and set a goal for themselves. They spoke out in one voice. Come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower with its top in the sky to make a name for ourselves, else we shall be scattered all over the world. God takes one look at these people working in unison to build something, and for some reason finds them threatening. God muses, as if as one people with one language for all, this is how they have begun to act, then nothing that they may propose to do will be out of their reach. Let us confound their speech, so they will not understand one another. And so, the people's languages are all scrambled up, and unable to communicate, they stop building their extravagant tower. That's the familiar story of the Tower of Babel. So my question is probably one that you have as well. Why would God want to mix up our languages? Wouldn't our world be better if we could all understand each other fully? Now, the most common answer from our tradition is that these people weren't just building a tower to the sky, but a tower to the heavens, so that they could match or challenge God. And God wouldn't tolerate that kind of arrogance. But I think there's a simpler answer. I think that God mixes up everyone's languages in the story because everyone's languages were already mixed up when they wrote it. Our ancestors lived right next door to all kinds of people whose speech and writing that they could not understand at all. This fable is an explanation for why that is. But there are other questions. Even when human beings can't speak in the same tongue, we can work to accomplish a task together, maybe using gestures or drawings, right? There are all kinds of languages that use our hands. Why did the people stop building? Well, it might be because our ancestors already understood that speaking a different language can also mean having completely different ways of experiencing and viewing the world. That is what the theory of linguistic relativity suggests. This theory, developed by various linguists through the 20th century, suggests that each language requires its speaker to specify certain kinds of information and therefore leads to certain habits of mind, ways of thinking. Here's an example offered by Israeli linguist Guy Deutscher. If I, as an English speaker, tell you that I was spending time with a friend last night, you have no idea if my friend is a man or a woman or neither. And you can ask, and I'm allowed to say, well, I was spending my time with my friend Nunya. As in Nunya business, you know. But if we were speaking French or German, I'd have to use a gendered word for friend. The information would be right there in the word that I used. Research even shows that among those who use gendered languages, people attribute gendered traits to inanimate objects. So Spanish speakers imagine clocks and violins to be strong and masculine, while German speakers might find them slender or elegant. Now, another example is how we speak about space. Now, if I were going to give you directions to the temple from somewhere, I could tell you to go straight, then you make a right, then you make a left, and there's the gate. Now, these instructions are oriented towards where you're facing, right? So they'd only work if you were coming the same route that I went. But to those who speak the Australian Aboriginal language Gugu Yimithir and other languages around the world, my directions would not make any sense. Their language relies solely on cardinal directions. That is, you go north, then you turn east, and then you go north again. So another example, if I'm looking for the keys are on the west edge of the north table in my living room. And it probably makes leading the hokey pokey a little bit awkward because, you know, you put your south hand in, you put your south hand out. Anyone know which is their south hand? Raise your south hand if you do. Okay, exactly, right? We got a couple people, and that was the right one. But that isn't how we think. That's not how we experience the world. To speak a language like Gugu Yimithir and live in that society, you need to know exactly where those directions are at any given moment. Your internal compass is going to be much more finely attuned than most English speakers, just because you need to give more attention to different kinds of information. So I'd like to take this even a little bit further, because even for people who speak the same language, it is incredibly difficult for us to fully understand each other. We each have our own rich internal world shaped by our own experiences, our upbringing, our temperaments, and our interests, which in turn affect how we perceive and describe reality around us. So, with different ways of taking in the world and thinking about it, the same words could mean something totally different to two different people. So let's say I'm at the supermarket, and the cashier asks me, "How are you doing?" Might seem simple, but let's overthink it. First off, I have no idea if they're genuinely interested in my answer, or if they're just being polite. So either way, I'd go with my usual response, fine. Now, fine can mean a lot of things. Maybe it means I'm just dandy, things are great, nothing to worry about. Maybe it means I'm not great, but I don't want to share that with you. Maybe it means I'm not great, but I have something else to get to and I don't have time to talk about it right now. Maybe it means I'm just barely hanging on by a thread, and if I put that into words and make it real, I'm terrified that things will just fall apart. That's all in one word, fine. It can mean so much, depending on the context and who we are and what we're feeling in the moment. But when I have a deep relationship with someone, when I know enough about them and their emotional language from encounter and conversation, I can often figure out what fine really means to them. So that, for us, is the challenge of the Tower of Babel. Folks from different countries speak different languages. but we also each speak our own language in a way that is distinct from everyone else's. And there is no language course that I know of for understanding the singular and infinitely complex person standing right next to me. There is only one way for us to overcome this curse of Babel, to truly understand each other, and that is through engaging with our fellow human beings. To understand and communicate with each other takes a great deal of time and energy. It takes learning from misunderstandings and mistakes, caring deeply not just about a person's words, but everything that lies beneath them. And that, my friends, that kind of engagement is what brings holiness into our relationships. Only once we commit ourselves to the sacred work of connecting with and caring about each other can we begin to build something beautiful together with shared purpose as one human community. Shabbat Shalom. So we have, as always, some announcements tonight. I will try to express them in a way that's understandable for all of us. But the easiest way to get a real understanding of what's going on at the temple, because there's always something, is to go to www.zedek.org, check your emails. All of the information you need is in there. Make it your homepage. It is always changing. You'll always find something new to look at. Just a few things I want to point out. Tomorrow morning, from, it says 9, but I think program starts at 10 and goes until 1, we are going to be at Old McMickey's farm. If you don't know how to get there, ask your GPS, and hopefully it'll tell you left or right instead of cardinal directions. We're going to be spending a nice Shabbat there together, all ages. Families with young children are going to get, or adults who want to, will have an opportunity to go on a tour of the farm, get to see all of the animals. Animals are really cool. It should be a good time. For all the rest of us, we're going to have a brief Shabbat service in the morning, and a few different things. Yoga, a little meditation with Cantor, which I'm looking forward to, and then a text study about magical beasts and where to find them in Jewish tradition. This is all because of Parshat Noach. I hope that you'll still join us. We'd love to see you up at the farm. I would also just keep in mind, I want to point this out, next Shabbat, we're going to have a service recognizing and honoring the involvement of interfaith families in our community, friends of all different faith backgrounds. We appreciate your presence. We love everything you give to us, and we want to have a service that is that honors you. The band is going to be there. We're going to be able to answer some questions after the service so everybody can get a little more understanding, a little more comfort, a little more Noach with what's going on. And then, of course, Mitzvah Day will be that Sunday, November 6th, and I think you can still sign up for things. It is never too late to do a mitzvah. If there is anything that I have missed, you'll find it on the temple website. And so, we will begin to bring our service to a close with Aleinu, we rise together.
Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon ha'kol, la'tet gedula liotzer b'reshit, shelo asanu kegoyei ha'aratzot, velo samanu kenishbechot ha'adama, shelo sam chalkeinu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, va'anachnu bori'im, u'mishtahavim u'modim, lifnei melech malchei hamelachim, hakadosh baruch hu. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu
are seated. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved. And if you cannot give me away, at least let me live in your eyes and not in your mind. You can love me best by letting hands touch hands and by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die. People do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. It's at this time that we think of those in our lives, our loved ones, who are no longer with us, but whose presence is felt through the wisdom that they shared and the love that they gave us. We remember those who have died in recent days: Terry Peavy, Joyce Carpe, Esther Fira Dukovnaya, Matt Sneidman, Richard Neiman, and Rini Silverman. We also remember those whose yahrzeits, the memorials of whose deaths we commemorate on this Shabbat: Jeffrey Melnick, Barney Anton, Sonia Beckenstein, Martin Block, Irma Braverman, Isidore Broder, Mildred Chad, Hyman Cheloff, Sylvia Cohen, David Cohn, Edith Davis, Lillian Devereaux, Edith Dolgan, Dorothea Dubler, Michael Eckelman, Lawrence Farkas, Lottie Finkelstein, Bobby Firestone, Bill Fleece, Murray Franklin, Shirley Fruchtman, Charles Goldstein, Alvin Goldman, Rose Gomberg, Ray Goodstone, Reuben Hanan, David Heller, Sarah Israelson, Myron Isserman, Bob Jacobson, Mildred Johns, Celia Kahn, Erwin Katz, Ira Kurtz, Harry Lasday, Al Leslie, Elaine Levinson, Marshall Levinson, Maud Moss, Ida Markman, Kurt Maurer, Nancy Mays, Helen Morrison, Helen Moses, Jean Moss, Elmer Reback, Frank Ryson, David Resnick, Bernie Richmond, Samuel Rose, John Schmitz, Nancy Sina, Doris Shine, Kathy Slonim, Harold Sutker, Bertha Taub, Ethel Udell, John Wisdow, and Mildred Wolf. On this Shabbat, we also remember the anniversary of the horrid act of anti-Semitic violence committed at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Squirrel Hill, a suburb of Pittsburgh, that occurred 4 years ago yesterday. Remember those who were murdered in this attack: Joyce Feinberg, Richard Gottfried, Rose Mallinger, Jerry Rabinowitz, Cecil and David Rosenthal, Bernice and Sylvan Simon, Daniel Stein, Melvin Wax, Irving Younger. To those names we add the names of everyone who has been hurt by violence and hate, chaos, or neglect. And we add the names of all of our loved ones who always remain with us. If you would take a moment now to think of someone you'd like to remember, and remember them the way you always want to remember them, in their brightest, strongest, and kindest moment. We entwine memory and love in the ancient words of the Mourner's Kaddish, rising together to offer this prayer, giving thanks to God for sharing all of these special lives with us. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divarach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv imru. Amen. Yehi shemei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lalmei almayat. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudashah brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. V'tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. And we say together, Amen. And we are seated.
But our closing song is Ein Keloheinu. Please join with me. Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadoneinu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, Micheloheinu, Michadoneinu, Michemalkeinu, Mikemoshienu, Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adoneinu, Nodel Emalkeinu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adoneinu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adoneinu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu.
And we'll now invite up all of our young people, not including the young at heart, all of our young people under the age of 18. Feel free to come on up. You get first dibs on the challah.
You just hold it for me, okay? Come on up. I see you out there. All right, you're going to miss out. If you're 18 years or younger, come on up. No? All right. We're going to join together in our motzi. Ready? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. B'tei avon. Take a
Avon,
piece. I'll hold it
Shabbat
out.
Shalom. Well, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Please join us in the social hall for our oneg. We'll be so delighted to celebrate Shabbat with you with sweetness.
Shabbat shalom.
תבושי ולא תקמי, מה תשתוכחי ומה תמי. בך יחסו עניי עמי, ונבנתה עיר על תילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת לקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת לקבלה. והיו למשיסה שוסייך, ורחקו חומר ולעיר. יסיס עלייך אלוהייך, כמסוס חתם על כלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת לקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת לקבלה. ימין ושמאל תפרוצי, ואת אדוני תריצי. על יד איש בן פרצי, ונשמחה ונגילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת לקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת לקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה. תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת לקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת לקבלה. שלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, מלאכי השלום. שלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, מלאכי השלום. לך דודי לקראת
look up, you're not there. Not ready, I'm not prepared. I need strength to climb. I reach and still I find that I'm weak and I'm scared. Esainai ele harim, me'ayin yavo yavo Izri. Esainai ele harim, me'ayin yavo yavo Izri. I need rest, I can't sleep. Awake and still I grieve. So if I fall out of reach, don't leave me be. Esainai ele harim, me'ayin yavo yavo Izri. Esainai ele harim, me'ayin yavo yavo Izri. Where is my joy when the world turned dark? Where is my faith when I am torn apart? Where is my strength till the pain subsides? Where is the light when I can't realize? Let rest be upon me. Let peace be with me. Let rest be upon me tonight. Esainai ele harim, me'ayin yavo yavo Izri. 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 Esainai ele harim, me'ayin yavo yavo Izri.
Yaribon, Yaribon Olam, Ve'almaya Antu Malka, Melech Malchaya. Yaribon, Yaribon Olam, Ve'almaya Antu Malka, Melech Malchaya. Yaribon Olam, to Malka, Melech Malchaya. Yarivon, Yarivon Olam. Be'almaya to Malka, unto Malka, Melech Malchaya. Melech Malchaya. Melech Malchaya. Melech Malchaya.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Hamcha ve'al kol yoshvei Tevel. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Hamcha tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha ve'al kol yoshvei Tevel. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha tasim le'olam. Ki ata hu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Hamcha ve'al kol yoshvei Tevel. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Hamcha tasim le'olam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha beit Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Hamcha ve'al kol yoshvei Tevel. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Hamcha tasim